tonight on Global News at 10. The loss of a Winnipeg hockey legend.
Just a tremendous leader, tremendous captain, tremendous teammate.
Dale Hawerchuk remembered.
Thanks for joining us. One of the greatest players to ever wear a Winnipeg Jets jersey has lost his battle with cancer.
Dale Hawerchuk has died at the age of 57. His Hockey Hall of Fame career included 9 seasons in Winnipeg, where he brought Jets fans out of their seats plenty of times during the 1980s. Joe Scarpelli looks back at the legacy of the man they called Ducky.
What a play. Hawerchuk has tied the game.
He was one of the greatest players in Winnipeg Jets history.
Man, did he deliver on the ice for this hockey club for the time that he was here, and especially for the time that he wore the C. He was such a tremendous leader.
But CJOB Sports Director Kelly Moore says Dale Hawerchuk will not only be remembered for what he did on the ice, but for who he was off the ice as well. Moore describes the Jet superstar as a humble man who had a genuine interest in getting to know his fans. Moore first met Hawerchuk on the golf course.
I'll bet you it was about the second or third hole. You would have thought we were lifelong friends, and he just met me that day. I can't think of a better way to describe what a gentleman and what a class act Dale Hawerchuk was.
Word of Hawerchuk's passing traveled fast throughout the city.
Anytime you think of the Jets and being a Winnipegger, like that's one of the things you're proud of, and he was absolutely one of the guys that represented what the Jets were all about.
He's a legend, and really, really sad to hear of his passing.
Yeah, I remember the day he signed at Portage in Maine. That's going back in the 80s when I was in my 20s. So yeah, it was exciting times for us, and it's really sad. I'm sorry to hear what happened to him.
Moore believes a memorial in Hawerchuk's name should be on the way.
We always need to tell that next generation what an incredible hockey player and what an even greater human being Dale Hawerchuk was.
Joe Scarpelli, Global News.
And another Jets legend paying tribute. Teemu Selanne on Twitter today saying, quote, "I'm thankful that Ducky was my friend, and I had a chance to talk with him yesterday and say goodbye. This world is not the same place without him. Eric, you can be so proud of your dad." And this is the scene in downtown Winnipeg at True North Square, where Hawerchuk's Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame banner has been temporarily relocated. Fans are encouraged to visit the site and celebrate his life and hockey career. And Winnipeg Mayor Brian Bowman saying in a tweet tonight that the Winnipeg sign at the Forks will be dimmed for the next 9 days in recognition of the 9 seasons Hawerchuk played with the Jets. Now, Winnipeg Jets PA announcer and Power 97's Jay Richardson remembers living a dream of seeing Hawerchuk play in the Jets uniform one last time at the Heritage Classic alumni game a few years ago, and also getting a chance to say his name.
Being able to kind of fulfill a lifelong dream of announcing Dale's name, not only to introduce him to the fans at Investors Group Field that day, but to announce one of his goals as well. I told several of my friends when that happened, I can retire now. This is fantastic. And then, of course, another memory, and this is a video that I've actually seen circulating on social media a lot today, was the night that the Jets honored him by inducting him into the Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame. I got to do that ceremony. I got to introduce him to the crowd at Bell MTS Place that night, and it was very, very loud and special memory for me for sure.
Now, we will have much more on the life of Dale Hawerchuk, including a look at his best moments as a Jet, coming up a little bit later in sports. All right, to COVID-19 now, and 2 new deaths to report today in Manitoba.
Coming up, we'll continue our look back at the life of Jets legend Dale Hawerchuk and reflect on his memorable career with the Jets. Sports is next. Welcome back. Many in Winnipeg and Manitoba mourning the loss of a Jets legend.
Yeah, as we told you earlier, Dale Hawerchuk losing his battle with cancer. Here's Russ Hobson with more.
Lisa, Kevin, definitely a sad day as the sports community mourns the death of Dale Hawerchuk, passing away at the age of 57 after battling stomach cancer. Hawerchuk was one of the most beloved Jets from the 1.0 era. With his pure talent, he dazzled Jets fans for 9 years after they made him the #1 pick of the 1981 draft. A humble kid who let his stick do the talking. He burst onto the scene as an 18-year-old rookie with 103 points to win the Calder Trophy as the Rookie of the Year, becoming the youngest player to reach the 100-point plateau and help the Jets to what at the time was the biggest single-season turnaround in NHL history. He would reach triple digits in points in 6 of his 9 seasons with the Jets, and internationally he won 2 Canada Cups. But Hawerchuk was traded to the Buffalo Sabres in 1990 and played 8 more seasons with the Sabres, Flyers, and Blues before retiring, getting inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2001. He was hired as head coach of the OHL's Barrie Colts in 2010 and held the position until taking a leave of absence last fall. His Hall of Fame banner will fly at True North Square starting tonight so fans can pay their respect, and the Jets will erect a statue in his honor with the entire hockey community now in mourning.
I thought this was a battle that he was going to win, actually. So I'm shocked and I'm really saddened that we just really lost just a tremendous leader, tremendous captain, tremendous teammate. I'll miss him.
I think in his heart, he was always just a Winnipeg Jet. He was truly a superstar as a hockey player. But I think I think why he was so loved here was not just that, but it was largely the fact that he made this his home and became one of us.
And we'll look back at some of Hawerchuk's many breathtaking highlights with the Jets a little bit later in the show. And the NHL honoring Hawerchuk ahead of today's games. A moment of silence for Ducky before Game 4 between the Canadiens and the Flyers. Now, Philly with a 2-1 lead, and they strike first. Following the Habs turnover, Michael Rappel taking the drop pass and firing it bar down to put the Flyers in the driver's seat. The 1-goal lead stands until late in the second, and Carey Price giving up a weak one as Phil Myers beats him with the one-hopper. 2-0 for the Flyers, and that's how this one goes in the books. The Canadiens now on the ropes, down 3-1. Game 5, Flames and Stars, and former Jets coach and now Stars head coach Rick Bowness getting a little emotional on the bench watching the tribute of his former teammate and player. Now it's 4-on-4 in the first. Tyler Seguin, the centering pass, and Jamie Benn buries it before going flying into the net. It counts, and the Stars were out in front. Final minute of the period, and Michael Backlund finding the back of the net with the wrister, and it was all square through 1 period of play. No scoring in the second, but early third, it's John Klingberg from the point, going top corner for the go-ahead goal and a 2-1 lead. The Flames had plenty of chances to tie it, but they just could not solve Anton Hudobin a second time, and 2-1 is the final as the Stars take a 3-2 series lead.
And later, remembering a Winnipeg Jets legend.
As great of a player he was a finer human being.
Tributes pour in for Dale Hawerchuk after the hockey icon lost his battle with cancer. Tributes are pouring in tonight for Winnipeg Jets legend Dale Hawerchuk, who tragically lost his battle with cancer today. This afternoon, the NHL paid tribute to Hawerchuk during the Montreal Canadiens and Philadelphia Flyers game.
We send our condolences to his wife, Crystal, their 3 children, Ben, Eric, and Alexis, and countless teammates and fans who were fortunate enough to see him play and call him a friend.
The tribute was followed by a moment of silence for Hawerchuk. Back here at home, Jets fans are also mourning the loss of the hockey legend, many in disbelief over his passing at such a young age.
For me, it's like losing a family member. That's how close I was to him. And I remember what he did for us when we played Edmonton and Calgary. I'm always going to know him as Ducky.
He's one of the all-time greats in the NHL and probably the best Jet that there ever was.
Very saddened to have someone like that that's very important to the community and to the hockey world pass at such a young age.
Over at True North Square, Hawerchuk's Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame banner has been put up in the plaza temporarily. True North Sports and Entertainment says fans can visit the plaza and celebrate his life and hockey career and his impact on the community. The video board has also been turned into a tribute for Hawerchuk. Pictures of Dale through the years can be seen on the screen in the square. Fans already started gathering in the square tonight.
Yeah, I just felt it was important. All he gave to the city, the least I could do was, drive downtown and pay my respects.
And the piece of my heart really went with him today after I found out the news of his passing. But it's hard to put into words what it is he meant to the city.
Dale is the same for me as he was for a lot of fans. He was our first favorite player. He was the first superstar for, the Jets NHL team.
With more on the hockey icon's life and legacy, here's CTV's John Hendricks.
Nice pass. Hawerchuk, shot, score!
He was a legend.
Centers and Hawerchuk all alone scores!
Dale Hawerchuk was drafted by the Winnipeg Jets first overall in the 1981 NHL entry draft and won the Calder Memorial Trophy in his rookie year. He led the team in scoring in each of his 9 seasons as a Jet. Tuesday, his son shared the news. The legendary Winnipeg Jets star died following a battle with cancer.
He was truly a superstar.
Tributes to Hawerchuk are pouring in from across the province and around the world. Premier Brian Pallister writing, "Our thoughts and prayers to the Hawerchuk family during this difficult time. All Jets fans mourn the loss of one of the NHL's all-time greatest players." Mayor Broman saying, "Winnipeg is mourning today. Our thoughts are with the Hawerchuk family as a true Winnipeg Jets icon has been lost. Dale was a leader on and off the ice and will always treasure the 9 seasons we were fortunate enough to witness firsthand." And former Jet Teemu Selanne writing, "So sad. What an incredible human being. I'm thankful that Ducky was my friend and I had a chance to talk with him yesterday and say goodbye. This world is not the same place without him. Eric, you can be so proud of your dad."
Please welcome back Jets Hall of Famer, number 10, Dale Hawerchuk.
Hawerchuk would later play for Buffalo, St. Louis, and Philadelphia, and more recently coach in Barrie. But as he shared with TSN, he felt a special connection to Winnipeg.
Coming back here, you just feel the passion. It's like, I feel like I could play again, but then when I watch my highlights, I know I can't.
This was his home for a long stretch, and long after he left. He stayed really connected, and I think that just resonated with people here. As great of a player he was he was a finer human being.
Dale Hawerchuk was 57 years old. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Mark Shipman says there will also be a statue of Dale Hawerchuk as part of the Jets Hall of Fame.
And later, paying respects to a Jets legend.
As great of a player he was a finer human being.
Tributes pour in for Dale Hawerchuk after the hockey icon lost his battle with cancer. Remembering one of the greats.
This was his home for a long stretch, and long after he left. He stayed really connected.
Tributes are pouring in for a Winnipeg hockey legend following his battle with cancer. Tributes are pouring in for Winnipeg Jets legend Dale Hawerchuk, who tragically lost his battle with cancer yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, the NHL paid tribute to Hawerchuk during the Montreal Canadiens and Philadelphia Flyers game.
We send our condolences to his wife, Crystal, their 3 children, Ben, Eric, and Alexis, and countless teammates and fans who were fortunate enough to see him play and call him a friend.
The tribute was followed by a moment of silence for Hawerchuk. Back here at home, Jets fans are also mourning the loss of the hockey legend, many in disbelief over his passing at such a young age.
For me, it's like losing a family member. That's how close I was to him. And I remember what he did for us when we played Edmonton and Calgary. I'm always going to know him as Ducky.
He's one of the all-time greats in the NHL and probably the best Jet that there ever was.
Very saddened to have someone like that that's very important to the community and the hockey world pass at such a young age.
Over at True North Square, Hawerchuk's Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame banner has been put up in the plaza temporarily. True North Sports and Entertainment says fans can visit the plaza and celebrate his life and hockey career and his impact on the community. The video board has also been turned into a tribute for Hawerchuk. Pictures of Dale through the years can be seen on the screen in the square. Fans already started gathering in the square last night.
Yeah, I just felt it was important. All he gave to the city, the least I could do was, drive downtown and pay my respects.
And a piece of my heart really went with him today after I found out the news of his passing, but it's hard to put into words what it is he meant to the city.
Dale is the same for me as he was for a lot of fans. He was our first favorite player. He was the first superstar for, the Jets NHL team.
With more on the hockey icon's life and legacy, here's CTV's John Hendricks.
Nice pass. Hawerchuk, shot, score!
He was a legend.
Centers and Hawerchuk all alone scores!
Dale Hawerchuk was drafted by the Winnipeg Jets first overall in the 1981 NHL entry draft and won the Calder Memorial Trophy in his rookie year. He led the team in scoring in each of his 9 seasons as a Jet. Tuesday, his son shared the news. The legendary Winnipeg Jets star died following a battle with cancer.
He was truly a superstar.
Tributes to Hawerchuk are pouring in from across the province and around the world. Premier Brian Pallister writing, "Our thoughts and prayers to the Hawerchuk family during this difficult time. All Jets fans mourn the loss of one of the NHL's all-time greatest players." Mayor Broman saying, "Winnipeg is mourning today. Our thoughts are with the Hawerchuk family as a true Winnipeg Jets icon has been lost. Dale was a leader on and off the ice and will always treasure the 9 seasons we were fortunate enough to witness firsthand." And former Jet Teemu Selanne writing, "So sad. What an incredible human being. I'm thankful that Ducky was my friend and I had a chance to talk with him yesterday and say goodbye. This world is not the same place without him. Eric, you can be so proud of your dad."
Please welcome back Jets Hall of Famer, number 10, Dale Hawerchuk.
Hawerchuk would later play for Buffalo, St. Louis, and Philadelphia, and more recently coach in Barrie. But as he shared with TSN, he felt a special connection to Winnipeg.
Coming back here, you just feel the passion. It's like, feel like I could play again, but then when I watch my highlights, I know I can't.
This was his home for a long stretch, and long after he left. He stayed really connected, and I think that just resonated with people here. As great of a player he was he was a finer human being.
Dale Hawerchuk was 57 years old. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
And Mark Chipman says there will also be a statue of Dale Hawerchuk as part of the Jets Hall of Fame. CTV's Joey Slattery will have more on Dale's life coming up tonight at 6.
Hockey fans in Winnipeg are heartbroken by the death of Jets legend Dale Hawerchuk. The Hall of Famer died yesterday of stomach cancer. He was 57 years old. Since the news broke, fans have been gathering at Winnipeg's True North Square. The Jets organization is displaying Hawerchuk's Hall of Fame banner there. It normally hangs from the rafters of Bell MTS Place. Here's what fans we've talked to had to say.
Right in front, they score! Hawerchuk, after just 9 seconds, the Leafs losing the puck at the blue line on a bad pass, and Hawerchuk gets his 40th. What can you say about a play like this, 9 seconds?
Dale Hawerchuk was someone that all Winnipeggers know and look up to. He really represented us well on the world stage. I think, as someone who grew up in the 80s, he was someone that, we were all aware of and loved.
I remember looking up to as a hero when I first started following the Jets, and probably is the reason that I'm a Jets fan even to this day, would be someone like Dale Hawerchuk.
Winnipeg leading 1-0, and what a beautiful effort by Dale Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk down the ice, hitting the line.
He was just consistent as he was the Jets, and just the way he carried himself and his commitment to doing things the right way, and we don't have a whole lot of that anymore, I don't think. So it's really tough that we've lost somebody that always did things the right way.
McLean the center. To Hawerchuk. Winds up. Hawerchuk off the front.
It just felt like a piece of your childhood just died there.
Hawerchuk, beautiful, scores! What a beautiful piece of work by this 18-year-old Dale Hawerchuk. Wow!